In my last video, I talked about alchemical tools or tools of alchemy, whichever way you prefer to say it. And a lot of people have reached out and asked me, well, what are they, Claire? So that's what this video is all about. Let's get into it. Hi, and welcome to Oak Lore Duir. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Claire Attio. For those that are returning subscribers, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so in this video, we're going to go through some of the tools of alchemy that I use, that I have, that bring me closer to source, that bring me and connect me closer to myself and to source energy, whatever. For me, that is God, whatever your belief system, but it's giving you that connection. And that is basically what the alchemy is. And it's just objects that help you to focus in on and channel the energies from whatever that object is. And there's so many. I mean, a journal, for example, is a tool of alchemy. It brings you closer to source. It allows you and helps you heal. It allows you to see the bits that don't function for you in your introspection when you're writing, and then it allows you to go back in and read it. It also allows you to put down the messages, and I've said this many, many times, sometimes you get a message and it really doesn't make sense, and then later on your journey, those pieces of the puzzle will come back in, and it's all in your journal. It's all in your journal. It's all there for you to remember, for you to use, to heal, to grow, to expand, to strengthen your connection to source energy into yourself. So a journal is an alchemical tool. There are lots of other things. Obviously, in last video, we talked about crystals. Again, allow the crystals to choose you, and ask the crystals. When you have crystals and when you're working with yourself and when you're working with clients, attune yourself, trust your intuition to what wants to be used. Allow these objects that have, when they're natural objects, they are living. When they've been produced out of natural objects, it's still living, because they would have come from Mother Gaia. They are also Gaia's children. And this is the thing to keep in mind. Don't just think, oh, it's an object that can go on the shelf and that can go on the shelf, and oh, isn't life wonderful? I have this lovely little room full of all these objects and it looks very spiritual. It's that is not the essence. Okay, that may be, maybe it does look very spiritual, maybe it does look very warm and inviting and cozy, and that's wonderful, but that's not the prime objective of these tools. These tools are here to help us to have relationships of reciprocity. And so hold all your tools with reverence. Speak with them, attune to them, ask them how they want to be used. And there are things that we buy. That's your bowl, for example. Obviously, I do the shamanism, so I do lots of smudging. So I have my bowl, and I have my sage. You can see that, needing a new piece and needing a new piece of Santa Barbara. Yeah, I'm looking. But it's all of these objects are not just for show. Each of them are symbolic. Each of them help us attune to the energies that are wanting to come forward, especially when we're working with clients. Well, not especially, we need to be doing it for ourselves as well. It is allow yourself to attune to what needs to be there. This, for example, a dear friend that I met when I was on my first shamanic course. And I shared the room with the girl, and then she started making shamanic tools. They're looking a little bit battered. It got sent to Spain, and then it's come back again, so it's looking a bit battered. But this absolute darling, she started making them, and I seen her put a little post out. And one, I wanted to help her because she was starting out, and two, it sang to me. It wanted to be a healing rattle, and it's about taking the time. It's connecting, it's touching, it's allowing the energies in stillness to come through you, speak to you, because this little devil, I knew from my intuition that this little baby wanted to be used for healing, but I didn't know until I actually touched it how it wanted to be healed. And this only ever comes out, and it gets used in two ways. This rattle, sometimes when somebody has, or when I have something that I'm really stuck with and I can't see it, but I know there's a blockage there, but I don't know where it is, then the rattle of this toy irritates it. It brings up those energies to the surface so that they can be healed, they can be released, they can be transmuted. Occasionally, not very often, she likes to be used for closing after a healing ceremony. And so again, but it's a different rattle. Let me see if I can get into the zone a minute. Yeah. And so the way they want to be used and the sound that they actually make brings forth different energies. It's not very often that this one, that's why I had to think about it. It's not very often that this one is used for closing in a ceremony. More often than not, it likes to be used to bring, and if you think it's like a pheasant hunt where they tap on the wood as they're walking through the woods to pull all the pheasants up out of the gorse so that they can actually shoot them, unfortunately. But you know, it's the only explanation I can give that makes sense. So yeah, he likes to be used like that. That, as I said, was made for me. I purchased that, but before I purchased it, I had the message. I listened to the message. You've got the classics from Native America. You've got the medicine bags. And within that medicine bag, this is a very personal medicine bag. Do I wear it when I'm healing clients or doing healing work? I don't heal clients. Let's just rephrase that. When I'm doing healing with clients. Yeah, I do, because there's some real powerful medicine in there. There have been some things put in there that are really powerful for helping people to heal. And so I wear that. And you would have seen me on some videos having worn this. You would have seen, let me show you, you would have seen that bit around my neck. And that is because I have been guided to wear it at that time. I have a different medicine bag. I have a bigger medicine bag. This is my communal medicine bag. This is my community medicine bag. And in here, I keep my cedar. And cedar is a medicine. Cedar is a tool of alchemy, where we put that on the fire and we allow our prayers and our desires and our hopes and our wishes and our intentions to be taken up to the heavens. So I keep my cedar in there, and many people can have and touched and again, this I purchased. This I was told to buy at a time when I really didn't want to have to spend the money. Let's put it that way, of being mindful of words here, because words have power. I really didn't want to invest in a bag that at the time I wasn't ready to use, but it was adamant that I purchased it. And so I did. And everything else fell into place. The financial aspect of that purchase, because I did the bidding of divine then did the bidding for me to ensure that I didn't the bank account wasn't empty that month. Let's put it that way. And this is the thing, it's a reciprocal relationship we're building. We're building fruitful reciprocity with the tools that we're using, and we're building a fruitful reciprocity with divine. When we call out, when we ask, when we set a prayer, however you do it, whether you're journeying, whether you're setting an intention, whether you're setting a prayer, you are asking from the divine, and they will answer. That will answer. The divine will answer. But you also have to be willing to answer when the divine calls. And you would have all heard me talk about my time when I was in Spain and I was getting the message to come back, and I was in real resistance. But eventually, everything was orchestrated that I did come back. You can't just take and not give. And it's a big lesson for us. And so it's just easier this is why we all talk about surrender, not because we're all magical, wonderful beings and we're so wonderfully connected that we're just able to just kind of hand over the reins. No, it's a journey where through hard lessons, a lot of the time, some of the time, depending on who and what you are and your personality type, it's through the lessons that we then say surrender, because having walked the journey, we understand that ultimately you're going to surrender. If you're walking the path, then it's part of your higher soul calling. And yes, okay, there will be times on your journey, on your path, where your 3D existence, your 3D mind, your 3D programs, your 3D thoughts will go, no, I'm not doing that. Why would I do that? Yeah, hands up, we've all done it. But ultimately, you surrender to what the divine wants you to do. When it comes to smudging, it's knowing your tools as well. It's when I first arrived here, when I first arrived in my home, and I'm walking. My routine is I walk in nature most days. It used to be every single day because I had a dog, but my darling passed on. He had other work to do in another realm in November. But it's when I'm out walking, nature speaks to us. Nature speaks to us in all sorts of ways, whether that is the land herself, whether it's the plants that grow from the land, whether it's the critters that are on the land. But I was tremendously blessed, first of all, with one. But divine knows me so well. Everything I kind of do, I do in threes. If you look at my bag there, I've got the Celtic. I forget what it's called actually, but it's at 3. It's that trilogy, and I've got these hawk feathers. I was gifted these hawk feathers. This is the when I say hawk, it's a kite. It's the red-tailed kite, and I was gifted the 2 to begin with, and I was me being me, I was like, spirit, I need the 3, or am I supposed to separate this? It's like I need the 3. And so in ceremony, I made this smudge wand. And this one, being from the red-tailed kite, this one gets used when there is stuff to be cut away. The red tail kite is very much part of the underworld, and and it has that affiliation because it would prefer to eat from dead animals rather than to kill itself, or and so it has a deep connection with the underworld, and it's about cutting away, it's clearing, decluttering. So when we're doing work on past life stuff, when we're doing work on things that are within us that no longer need to be part of our lessons, no longer need, when we're cutting away energies, the lesson has been learned, and but the energy is still sat there. This is brilliant for cutting that away. Another one that I got is the barn owl, and this one I made it myself. And these I were gifted. I was actually told I needed an owl wand, and I was like, right, okay. And the very next day, I was in conversation with one of the ladies, one of my neighbors up the road, who has a farm, and in her barn she has an owl. And so she ran off and she came out, and I was really shocked, because it was only the day before that spirit had actually said to me, right, okay, we need an owl. We need an owl feather. And I'm very loath when it comes to feathers, because there are lots. Again, we've talked about this on the internet, Amazon. I mean, there are lots and lots of very scrupulous people, but there are also people that will actually sell you products where they have manipulated what they look like. So it was lovely to be given those straight from the owl that it was shedding at the time. And so that was another beautiful, beautiful gift from divine. Pendulum. Pendulums are alchemical tools. In here, I have a little pouch of tobacco with some prayers in. This sits on my altar. This is an alchemical tool. This is a beautiful, beautiful piece of yew wood that I was gifted up in Scotland from the, let me remember the name, Portingale yew. And it was somewhere that spirit had actually been telling me to go to connect, and that would be a video in itself, that exploration and that journey, but it was absolutely joyous. There had been a massive storm the night before, and when we walked into the courtyard of the church where this tree actually resides, this is not actually from the original Fortingale yew tree, because the Fortingale yew tree is 2,000, 3,000 years old. It was from its sister on the other side of the courtyard. And I walked in, and when I walked into into the churchyard, into the courtyard, the Fortingale is on the left as you're facing, as you walk in, and there was another little courtyard on the right, and for some reason I was drawn to the right, and lo and behold, there was a huge branch. This is just one piece. The branch wanted to be distributed, and so it is in the process of having been distributed. And this just brings through so much magic, so much magic. And I'm still in awe that I got a piece. I'm still in awe. Hold it with much, much reverence. Malas are a tool of alchemy, and this one, sorry, you probably didn't see me. I took it out my pouch. This one I actually made when I was in Iona. This is a very personal mala, and every single bead has been infused with a prayer. So 108 beads, 108 prayers. And there was a lot of healing that transpired when I was making this, through those prayers, through that connection, through the ceremony of making this. I did a lot of self-healing, but I also, that is when there was a real shift in healing my ancestral lineage as well. So there are some malas that I've got other malas that I just use when I just want to just kind of just some downtime, just to have some non-intentional I know that sounds really strange, but non-intentional downtime where I just want to just connect and just be with divine. This one is definitely when there's healing, when there's big work to be done. And so, but that gets kept in its pouch, and again it sits on my altar. Your altar, if you have one, treat it like a tool of alchemy. When I'm working with clients, I have different bedding sheets, all sorts of things. This one has all the, I don't know if you can see it, it has all the different symbols for the chakras, whereas I have another one here that, I don't know if you can see that, it's beautiful tree of life on there. And so it's attuning yourself, it's knowing what to use, how to use it, when to use it. When another time I was in Scotland, I made a tray for my crystals to sit on, and I actually, and it's beautiful, it's lovely to make your own tools. Don't underestimate making your own tools. It really makes them very, very powerful. This one is a charger. This is a charging tray. And so if I need anything to be charged energetically, then I place it on this tray. That was its intention. I have excuse me. I have a apocryphy where I have all sorts of gums and gumption, juniper, cedar, sandrak, I've gone brain dead. The Three Kings, frankincense. Sorry, I don't get that. I'll go through the Three Kings then. Your frankincense. I've even got Palo Santo dust. There's all sorts in here, but I've also got excuse me, an assortment of different dried flower petals that I use, and I have blessed water that I use, collected from the sacred wells, and then blessed, and so that can be used. There's lots and lots of things. Anything from the natural world can be a tool of alchemy, an alchemical tool. It's about listening. It's listening to what your team, what your connection to divine are wanting you to use, and to help with. I've got, if you see behind me, there's my drum. My drum is a healing drum. That is not one I tend to use for anything other than healing. There have been a couple of times I've used it for other stuff, but even then it has done healing. It's been interesting because I've used it on a full moon a few full moon ceremonies, and each time there has been deep healing. You've got the arms. Arms are really good for kind of they clear the space. They've got a beautiful resonance that clears and harmonizes the space. So along with smudging, as I talked before, along with smudging, clearing the space, I will often use those. And if I have a client that's particularly a little bit jittery, they're not able to relax, the arms are very good for getting people to relax. I've got the rain stick, you can see there. And that is lovely when you're doing a meditation and you are using the element of water to clean and clear for people, to have the rain stick and to actually just gently do that as they are in their meditation, so that they can actually hear the rain. And as they hear the rain, they very often feel the rain, which is pretty magical. I've got my other drum here that I use. I use that more personally. That's my little relaxation fable going on there. But there's lots and lots of things. And when I say things, treat them as living objects, treat them with reverence, afford them the courtesy of building a relationship with them, showing gratitude to them, thanking them, and checking in with what and how they want to be used for and with. I shall leave it at that. I hope this has helped. You take care. If you've liked the video, then press that like button. If you've not yet subscribed, then please press subscribe. And I shall see you on the next one. Bye-bye.